I just talked to somebody that lost thousands and thousands of dollars over many, many years. So let's make sure that doesn't happen to you or someone you know. So this is Ed Weir, a retired district manager of the Social Security Administration. I help people all throughout the country with all things Social Security, Medicare, Affordable Care Act, health insurance, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, the whole 9 yards of ball of wax. So give me a call. My help is always free. All right. So Debbie in Maryland. Hey, Debbie. Um, I've talked about this in another video, but I've got over 100 videos. So let's talk about this again. This is pretty important. Luckily, her sister was looking out for her. I talked to her sister, and it turns out that Debbie got divorced, and her husband and her husband's lawyer, I guess, tried the old divorce decree that you're not going to get anything, including my future Social Security benefits. So that was written in the divorce decree. Number one, nice try, but no. Divorce decrees are essentially local, state type of issues, and Social Security is a federal program. So the federal program trumps the local deal you make with your ex partner. Um, and so that doesn't matter. And again, I've adjudicated thousands and thousands of divorced spouse benefits when I worked for the Social Security Administration. And people have to provide their divorce decree that showed that they were actually married for 10 years. They have to show their marriage certificate and the divorce decree, so I can determine that they were actually married for 10 years in order to be entitled, unless of course they were still married when the spouse passed away. Then obviously it wouldn't be a divorce, it'd be a surviving spouse. But anyway, 10 years of marriage. And then when I get the all Social Security employees, when we get the divorce decree, we look at the date. That's it. We look at the names. Okay, is this the spouse, or is this the other spouse? What date did they get divorced? What date did they get married? That's 10 years, done, end of story. Don't look at anything else. So if it says in there that you're not going to get any of my Social Security benefits, we don't care. We don't even look at that part. We're just looking for the date on the divorce decree. Well, Debbie, what makes it far, far, far more worse is that she applied at Social Security, and the Social Security rep at the front window or wherever saw that and said, no, sorry, you can't get Social Security benefits because it says there in the divorce decree that you can't get it. So, Social Security Administration, employees, management, headquarters, if you're watching, I know you are. You're always watching my videos, and I appreciate it. Please do training for the employees. Got 65,000 employees at the Social Security Administration throughout the country, thousands of office. So please do the daily update. Have your offices throughout the country do training that whatever it says in the divorce decree about something like that is not relevant. So stop giving out incorrect information. And this is not 10 years ago that this was given out. Well, it was 10 years ago or many years ago. We're not exactly sure when she first applied, but it was several years ago. This poor lady has been living off of $600 or $700 a month for many years, and it looks like she should have been entitled to a lot more. So all of those years of benefits that she has lost, hopefully, what I told her to go ahead and do is contact Social Security Administration, which she did a few months ago, and they told her the exact same thing in February. No, you can't get it because of it says in there. And then she pushed a little bit further, and they said, oh, okay, wait a second here. And so now it looks like they're addressing it. But the issue is the back pay. I've talked about this in other videos, protective filing. Okay. So protective filing, if she applied 5 years ago, let's say, so she applied or she contacted Social Security Administration or wrote them a letter or send them a, carrier pigeon. Doesn't matter how you contact Social Security Administration. If you've contacted them and asked them about X, Y, or Z, you have a protective filing. And It depends how they close it out. It's a very complicated type of system how they do it in terms of closing it out, but often they don't close it out correctly, and it's an open issue. Or if you were given misinformation, like this particular situation, then they can look at it and say, okay, wait a second, this was misinformation by us. And hopefully, what happens in this case is that they reopen the case. What they will do is they will unarchive. Um, the Social Security Administration has been using the same computer system for 20 years or so, and for actually a lot longer than that. And it's all based on 1970s software technology and Fortran and COBOL. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but if you want a future at Social Security as a computer program, you have to learn. The dark ages computer programming. But anyway, so what will happen is hopefully what they're doing is they've unarchived the claim so they can see the claim from 5, 10 years ago, whatever the case may be, and they can see whether they address that issue about her collecting spouse benefits. And hopefully the claim specialist put some type of notes in there that says, yes, she was married for 10 years, but it said in the divorce decree that she couldn't get the benefits. And if it says that, then she's got a easy case of misinformation, and she can get all that money back. So they're stalling, looks like a bit. She's been working on this since February. And anytime you have an issue with Social Security where they're not doing the right thing expeditiously, within reason, there's a few things you can do. You can harass them in terms of calling the 800 number, calling the local office, um, asking for a supervisor called the operations supervisor OS, asking for the ADM assistant district manager, asking for the district manager, calling the area director's office, calling the regional office, call um, uh, the public affairs office, call your congressperson, and or you can go online to your local congressperson, your federal congressperson, that is, senator, whoever, and they usually have a form online. You can fill it out with, I have a problem with this federal agency, and what they'll do is they'll contact the Social Security Administration and say, hey, this person just contacted me. What the heck's going on? And when I received those, what we called congressionals in my office, those were at the top, because after all, Social Security gets their money from Congress. So we want to play nice, and we're monitored on our response time. So anytime we got a congressional like that, within 24, 48 hours, we are at the very least, we're on the phone to the particular person and say, okay, yes, we got your request, and we're investigating it right now, and we'll keep you updated. We'll call you tomorrow, whatever the case may be. So at least a contact. Okay, so that's what I told her to go ahead and do, is reach out to her congressional person and get it addressed that way. But there's different ways you can do it. All right, so the divorced spouse benefits, she would be entitled going all the way back. If there's another one, I did another video, it's called Independently Entitled Divorce Spouse. So if you are divorced from a person and that person just hasn't filed for retirement benefits yet, that's fine. You need the money. You're of age, you're 62 or older, so you can go ahead and file even though the other person hasn't filed yet. Obviously, there's a reduction if you're going to file early, and you had to be married a certain amount of years and everything, but call Social Security and say, hey, at least I want to kick around my ideas. Anytime you have anything like that, you want to get a better number so you can plan, call the Social Security Administration and at least set up an appointment, or call, the 800 number. Hopefully they can give you some numbers. And it's not like when you go into a car dealership where you say, you go to the person and they tell you all the details. They say, okay, here's how much you're going to have, and this is when it's going to start, and yada, 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 and all these details and everything. And you say, oh, okay, let me think about it. When you go to a car dealer, he's like, let me think about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I wasted all that time. Social Security employees are extremely happy when you say, okay, let me think about it. Basically, that means, they have like 10 or 15 appointments that day. And now they don't have to take your case back to their desk and go through all the adjudication work, they can maybe take a breather for 3.5 minutes until their next appointment. So don't worry about oh, why do we go down there and waste their time and stuff. If this is your planning for retirement or disability, whatever the case may be, that is the job of the Social Security employees, is to give you all the information so you can plan appropriately for anything in the future. Okay. All right. What else? Divorce spouse benefits. People contact me on a daily basis, and one of the things they're saying, well, yes, we got divorced. We were married for 10 years, but he got remarried. And so I don't want to cause any issues with the new wife. Won't cause any issues whatsoever. When you file divorce spouse benefits, your ex-spouse won't even know about it. It's none of their business. Those benefits are your right. Those are your benefits. If you were married to that person for 10 years, and again, well, not again, this first time in this video, but I talk about this in other videos, that your benefit amount has to be less than half of theirs. So if yours is, let's say, $800 and the spouse is 2,000, so half is 1,000. So what will happen is you get $800 on your own, and you'll get the other $200 from your ex-spouse. And it won't affect their new marriage. It won't affect your ex-spouse. They won't get $200 less, or their new husband and wife won't get $200 less or anything like that. No issues whatsoever. The children or anything like that won't be affected in terms of a spousal benefit. So don't worry about that. File, and again, the other person won't know anything about it. It's none of their business. We don't call the ex-spouse and say, hey, your your husband or wife of 30 years ago is filing for benefits on your record. Is that okay? No, we don't. No, don't do that whatsoever. They won't even know. Okay. And it can be 10, 20, 30 years ago. If you just got divorced a couple of years ago, and it was a 10-year marriage, and now you're filing for benefits, but you were also married 20 years ago and that was a 10-year, then you go to the one that is the most money. If it was the 20-year ago marriage, then Social Security employees will put you on that record because it's more money. Finally, if you say, well, the 20-year ago marriage, I just don't know that person's Social Security number. That's fine. No problem whatsoever. All you have to do is if you want to figure out whether there's more money off of a previous spouse, all you do is call the Social Security Administration and you give them that spouse's name, their date of birth, as close as you know it, the city and state they were born in, as best as you know it, their mother's or their parents' name, if you know that, if it's a common name, John Smith or, Mary Jones or something like that. You probably need more information to kind of narrow it down. But the Social Security employees will be able to find it. I've, done that a million times. Um, you know, it's very, very easy to search for the Social Security number if you've got the name and the date of birth and, within a 5-year range or so. And then we just said, okay, what was the main, do you know the mother's that person's mother's name? And said, oh yeah, yeah, okay, yep, here it is. And where do they work? And they can immediately look at all the work history and say, oh, they worked at Walmart or whatever the case may be. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yep, yep, this is the person. So they can investigate it to see if you're entitled to any more benefits. And if you're entitled to more benefits, then you start the whole paperwork. And then even if you don't have the marriage certificate or the divorce decree at that time, don't worry about it. Don't wait. Please, please, please don't wait. Um, Call up. Again, that's a protective filing. So if you call up and say, hey, I want to check out my previous spouse from 20 years ago. Here's his name, date of birth. Okay, I found his social. Okay, yeah, you can get $400 more on that record if we go ahead and get you set up. But we need your marriage certificate and divorce decree. Okay, yeah, no problem. You're protected for that month. So if you call in March and it takes you 2 months to get the divorce decree and the marriage certificate and everything, no problem. They will go back and give you the money based on the first time you call. So you're not going to be losing 2 months of benefits. However, if you say, well, I'm not going to call until I get the marriage certificate and divorce decree, then guess what? You've lost 2 months of benefits. So call, establish a protective filing, and make sure you get that benefit. And Debbie in Maryland, it's been late. And hopefully they will get you that money, and hopefully they can go back many, many years and get you that back pay. If they don't, then they make the initial decision that says, nope, we're not going to give it to for whatever reason, and you disagree with that decision. Again, call me up when they give you the decision, and then we'll review it and see if their answers are believable, legitimate, appropriate. And if not, then what you do is this is the appeals process. You file a 561, SSA 561. It's a request for reconsideration. Very, very easy to fill out. So there's only a few lines you can write down there. You can add an extra piece of paper and write a whole story if you want. But it's just basically, I disagree with your decision. I think I should get all this back pay. And someone else will look at it, not the original person that made the decision. Another person will look at it and then make another decision. If you disagree with that, then you request through a 501, SSA 501. I can't believe I still remember all the forms, but anyway, here it is. That's what happens when you do this for a million times for decades. So it's a request for a hearing with an administrative law judge. So unfortunately, that takes forever to see an administrative law judge to have a hearing. But hey, if it's money that's your money that you're entitled to, then do it. So maybe you file that, and after a year, you finally get your day in court, and they say, "Yep, okay, yep, yeah, we agree with you 100%." They will give you all that back pay. So that's a beautiful thing. If you had to wait a year, or in Debbie's case here, 5, 10 years or whatever the case may be, if the judge says, yep, no, you should have gotten it for day one, then all Social Security has to release all that back pay. So that's a beautiful thing. And if the administrative law judge decides that no, then there's another step in the appeal process. Appeals Council in Falls Church, Virginia, they just kind of review the ALJ's decision and can see if they did the right thing. If they still go against you, then you can file a federal appeals court. So yeah, there's many, many steps. So reach out to me, and we can come up with a game plan on any of that. And again, please, everyone out there, if none of this applies to you, be like Debbie's sister and say, hey, I know someone, my brother, my sister, my aunt, my next door neighbor, my friend at work, or wherever the case may be, that might apply to them. Show them this video, introduce them to my channel, subscribe, share it, and out of my 100+ videos, I'm sure someone around you can find some more money and some more benefits. So please subscribe to all that great stuff. And here's hoping Debbie gets a whole bunch of money, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a beautiful day.